Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
Hello and welcome to the Popternative Podcast. It's the podcast and talk show where we have digital discussions from the worlds of TV, film, pop culture, social media, sports, everything really, depending on the guest. We talk about it all. As always, I'm your host, Peter Remoliotis, and social media, you know me as PD Beats. You'll recognize my guest from a show on DC Universe of the CW called Stargirl. He plays the gambler. We're with Eric Goins. Eric, welcome to Popternative, man.
Oh, thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
No problem. I was hoping, maybe if I edit, I put some Timber by Kesha and Pitbull in the background for you.
I would love it.
Because I feel like that song is going to follow you for the rest of your life.
I'm fairly certain that song will follow me for a good long time.
Absolutely. It's a great song. It makes you want to dance. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Your character, your character kind of adds a little bit too with the humming and everything. That must have been a fun, what was that like? Obviously when you're filming that, you didn't hear the song, obviously, right?
I did.
Oh, you did hear the song?
Yeah, they played it for me.
To get you in the mood, right?
Oh yeah, so I could hit those beats, I had to hit the beats right on the mark.
Thank you for coming on the show, man. I appreciate it. And congrats so far on the success of Stargirl. This show is amazing. It looks so cool. The characters are amazing. I think it's a home run. I think you all just hit it out of the park.
Oh, well, thank you very much. I mean, we're really optimistic about it. It felt right when we were shooting it. It was a lot of fun to shoot. Had a great feel throughout the entire project. And we're really happy it's getting good response. What I
really like too is there's a lot of different layers in terms of the characters, because we talked about it before. I mean, you have the villains, you have the superheroes, but you also have the kids of the villains as well. So there's different kind of layers and different kind of groups of characters in Stargirl.
Multi-generational,
absolutely.
It's great. I think it's got something for everybody, right? I mean, I think there's a tier of the show that appeals to people my age, and then there's a tier of the show that appeals to a younger audience, and I think that's a well-rounded experience when you're watching it.
Has it ever sunk in that you are like a villain in a DC Universe TV show? Like, that's pretty cool.
It's starting to sink in a little bit. It's starting to sink in every day a little bit more when you watch it on the show and you start seeing people talk about it and you see the response that the show is getting and the characters are getting. It really starts to sink in.
I feel like too, the fandom has been kind of it's interesting because your episodes are being released every week. It's not like everything was kind of thrown all at once, you know what I mean? So we have to kind of wait every week for a new episode. But what I remember, Eric, is episode 1 got released and it just exploded. Facebook fan groups were being made and memes were being made already. It hit pretty quick. And I feel like a lot of shows during this COVID-19 quarantine time have hit very quick when they come out because people have more time to watch them. But did you kind of see that as well as being an actor on the show? Did you see it hit pretty quick when the first episode came out?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of excitement even leading up to the first episode. And when that first episode hit, I think people really liked it. I think the first 5 minutes of that show are so compelling. That original fight scene between the JSA and the ISA, it's so compelling right off the bat.
Yep.
And I think that was a big deal. I think that people really enjoyed just right off the bat seeing that episode.
A lot of the cast and crew that I've interviewed have said one of the coolest things about the show was the set. It felt like you were on a blockbuster movie when you were on set. And they said specifically Stripe, right? Stripe is sometimes in the show a little bit of CGI, but there's actually a Stripe machine.
Mm-hmm.
That's so cool, man.
Humongous. It is huge. I mean, it's so imposing. I mean, that's the thing. That's the cool thing about it. So when the ISA, when we walk into our lair, it is legitimate. It is very, very real. And the first day we walked on and saw that big oil painting in the back of the ISA, mm-hmm. I mean, it was mind blowing because it was so cool to see stuff like that.
No, it's really cool. Another really cool thing is the cast and crew talked about. The cast is amazing. The people in the show are unbelievable. When I kind of read, however, that Amy Smart and Luke Wilson were going to be attached to this project. You know what I mean? That was just really like a real cool, exciting like moment for me because I grew up watching all their movies, right? And I was just like, you know, Amy Smart, Just Friends with Ryan Reynolds is one of my favorite movies of all time. And you look at Luke Wilson with like Old School. I mean, it's pretty cool that these, I like to call them storytellers. You're all storytellers. These, you know, Luke Wilson and Amy Smart, who are in those movies and Road Trip with Amy Smart, now they're in like a superhero show. Like, it's pretty cool to think about that. You know what I mean?
Oh, I mean, Luke and Amy are iconic storytellers, right? I mean, it's one of those things where you hear they're involved as a fan. You're kind of like, oh, I'm in. I'm watching the show.
Yeah.
Luke Wilson and Amy Smart.
Well, I was I'm going to be honest with you though, because, you know, I watch a lot of the shows on the CW. Like, I'm a big fan of The Flash and all that, you know.
Huge fan of The Flash.
Yeah, I love The Flash. I just interviewed Kayla Compton, who played Allegra Garcia.
Awesome.
And she's actually like a series regular for the next season, which is really cool.
Good. That's awesome.
Yeah. So, but the thing is, like, usually, you know, like, how do I say this? Like, I was taken aback a little when I saw, like, because usually, like it's all teens and there's not a lot of, like I'm trying to say, like, I was kind of taken aback, like, surprised when I saw, like, Luke Wilson and Amy Smart, like, attached to a show like Stargirl.
Why?
Because, well, no, because I just, like, they usually didn't do superhero stuff before.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, it goes to, it's kind of a testament to the guy running the ship, right? Jeff Johns. I mean, this story is so incredibly important to him.
I didn't mean to offend. I meant like
No, not at all. I didn't know if that was like a gotcha question. I wanted to make sure.
No. I was just like I was trying to figure out what I was saying, but it's like they haven't done superhero stuff or like comic book stuff before. You know what I mean?
And I think it is a really great storyline. I mean, Jeff has put together a really great narrative, and I think that's compelling for any actor. And the story is so important to Jeff. I mean, it's a privilege to be a part of it.
Mm-hmm. No, it is. And there's just kind of like, there's so much like swag oozing out of all the characters. Like, you're all so cool. You know what I mean? Even the Gambler, you know, like with your chocolate coin, or what is that? Like the...
Oh, yeah, it's a chocolate coin.
The chocolate coin, the killer coin.
Mm-hmm. Chocolate coin and my Dillinger.
Yeah.
Yeah, Derringer.
Yeah. Neil Jackson, who plays Icicle, I mean... literally, like, what, like, how cool is he, right?
He's very, very cool. He's a very cool guy, and he's a really nice guy too. He's a joy to work with. Most of my scenes were with him throughout the season, and he's just, what a pleasure.
Well, when I interviewed Neil Hopkins, who played Sportsmaster, he even said, like, the Injustice Society, like, everyone in it are, like, the coolest and nicest people, like, offset, and it's just, like, weird to see. Then they're, like, in, like, villain mode.
I mean, some of the funnest times we had was when the camera wasn't filming. We just got a chance to just hang out with each other. We had a great time as a group, for sure.
Absolutely. So I wanted, like, we kind of got right into it. I was mesmerized by Timber by Pitbull and Kesha, so I brought that up right away. But I kind of want to know about, like, getting away from Stargirl a little bit. Like, you as, like, an actor and a storyteller, like, when did that kind of start for you? Like, when did you decide that's something that you wanted to pursue, Eric?
Yeah, you know, it didn't start for me until later in life. In '98, actually, I went to an improv show for my birthday. My friends took me, and I was watching the improv show, and it seemed like the people on stage were having a great time, and it was a really cool experience. And I signed up. Well, I auditioned for class, actually, and I got accepted to the class, and that was kind of the beginning of my storytelling career. And the only thing I could say is that, like, when I started taking improv, there are a few lessons that you learn when you do improv. The first of all is yes and that's like taking your partner's offer and then adding information to it. So basically listening to what someone says, accepting it as reality, and then moving forward and agreeing with somebody else. I really bought into that concept of just being agreeable and listening to people. The other things you learn is, like, not to judge yourself when you're in a situation where you're performing, and not to judge others. And so those messages really kind of, I don't know, they really hit me really, really hard. And that was the beginning of my storytelling career, and never really looked back after that. So it's been, I guess it's been quite a while since then. And I think storytelling for me has become this journey to find out kind of what my best self is.
Yep.
Because you can't share something on screen or on a stage unless somehow you've gone and found it so you own it.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I got to portray a specific character or something specific on stage or on camera, well, I got to go find it within myself. And every time I go find something within myself, in my opinion, I become a more comprehensive person, a more full person.
I love improv, actually. Like, I'm a big fan of improv, and I feel like for me, like, I feel like improv, like, I love doing it. Like, I even did one, like, I was interviewing Veronica Slowakowska, who's like, she does improv, and she's in What We Do in the Shadows and FX, and we'd actually like improv the scene, and like, it was just easy. It was like easy for me to do. I don't know. Like, I thought it was kind of easy to kind of go with. We were like, do you find, is improv something that you kind of wanted to pursue afterwards after taking those classes, or were you kind of doing that just to kind of get your foot in the door type thing?
Oh, I was a full-time improviser for 16 years.
Wow.
So that's all I did was perform every weekend. At one point I was performing Tuesday night, Thursday night, 2 shows on Friday, 2 shows on Saturday.
Wow.
And I did that for about 16 years, and then I stepped away. But I've performed in front of as few as 10 people and as many as 12,000. So yeah, once I got the bug, that was it. And so it's the only addiction I have. It's like being in front of a live group of people and throwing it all out there. And it's like, improv for me, it's like you feel like you're falling all the time. And when you're okay with that, like it's pretty fun.
So here's the $1 million question.
Okay.
Did you have a chance to do any improv in Stargirl?
Oh, it's a good question. Yeah, I mean, they gave me a lot of wiggle room. I can't nail exactly what moments are scripted and what moments were improvised.
Yeah, of course.
But like the entire production gave everybody a lot of wiggle room to develop these characters and put their own twist on it. It's an eye wink here or a little bit of more swagger there, and it was a great set to work on.
But it's like there's a lot of like some characters in certain episodes have more screen time than others, but I feel like the screen time is like, it's strategic screen time for every character. Like every time we see your character, it's like pretty important. Like it's like, you know what I mean? Like with the chocolate coin or like the surveillance, you know what I mean? Like I thought, do you know what I mean? Like it's like a strategic screen time almost.
Yeah, I'm all for it. I love the strategic screen time.
Did I just coin that?
I love it. Great phrase. It's going to be in the next film manual. Filmmaker's book.
Screening.
Strategic screen time.
It's funny because I'm from Montreal, Quebec, Canada originally, and we have pre-college, which is called CEGEP, which is 2 years of like specialized programming before you go to university. And I did I was like a film kid in college.
Awesome.
So I did that. So I dabbled and went back in my old books, and I had a lot of time during the quarantine, right? And I wrote like some short horror film scripts, and writing is fun. Like I don't realize writing scripts and like writing short stories is a lot of fun, man. Like it's a nice stress release too.
You got a story in you got to get it out, put it on paper.
Absolutely. I did want to ask you about that. I want your opinion, whether even if you didn't work in the genre or you like the genre, because like I'm a big horror movie guy. Yeah. And I find like that genre in the last couple of years has just been like exploded because there's so much amazing stuff in that genre. And I just wanted your perspective as being kind of an actor and a storyteller. What do you kind of think of that genre of like the horror and thriller in the last couple of years? Like it's crazy. Like they're finding different ways to scare audiences. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny because fear takes on so many different roles in movies, right? Like I feel like we go through these kind of periods where it's gone from like what you see scares you to like now it's more like what you don't see is so scary.
Yeah.
And what you don't see is what's frightening. I think the horror, the thriller genre is always going to be a very valuable genre to storytelling.
I also find too, like the geek culture, the nerd culture, like this, like the stuff that's like the Stargirl, like all that, like that obviously was always around. Like I remember, going to see like The Dark Knight with all my friends was like a big deal, you know what I mean? Or I remember going to comic book stores and buying comics and everything. But like the last like 10 years, especially, I feel like the conventions really helped it too. Like I feel like there's been an explosion of like the geek nerd culture.
Yeah, it's mainstream. You know? I live in Atlanta, and we have Dragon Con here every year, and it is the thing to go to in Atlanta.
You're not from Atlanta though, right?
No, originally I'm from Florida, but I've been here since 1989.
I'm wondering if you know some of my other fellow friends that are actors that live in Atlanta, because I feel like do you know Kevin L. Johnson, who's in Ozark? Does that ring a bell? He lives in Atlanta, and he's very like, he's introduced me to a lot of like Atlanta actors and actresses. Haley Lovett lives in Atlanta too. She was in The Gifted, Marvel's Fox show. Like I feel like Atlanta's rocking though. Like I've talked to a lot of people. Like there's a lot of things going on in Atlanta.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of production going on here. We passed some big tax incentives in 2008. It brought a lot of work here, and now the rest of the industry is kind of developing around those tax incentives. So we have the crew and the writers and the talent, and it's a really great place to live as a storyteller.
For sure. You really like that storyteller, eh?
Oh yeah, that's timber and strategic storytelling. I'm taking
screen time storytelling.
Strategic storytelling with timber on behind me.
I'd have to say you like The Gambler's up there in terms of like one of my favorite characters, but my two favorite, like I love, because I'm a hockey guy, right? I love Sportsmaster. I think that,
me too.
I think that mask is like the coolest thing of all time.
Pretty cool.
And like I hope like people will make replicas of it, and I can like buy one because I want one. Because that, even Neil was like, yeah, me too. Like I want one. Me and Neil was like, I gotta talk to the stunt double because there's two. But Trey Romano, who plays Mike, is amazing. Like he's the funniest guy. Like he's so funny.
Love that guy. He's a great kid. So I think his family kind of splits time between Atlanta and New York and LA. Mm-hmm. And so I've gotten a chance to spend time with him and his family. And they're just, first of all, they're just great people. Yeah. But Trey is a really talented young man, super talented, super kind, super funny. And anyone who's got a personality like his, I'm attracted to immediately because he's hilarious.
He's so funny. Like, and I interviewed him too, and he's just as funny like as Trey Romano, as in Mike. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's Trey, which is great. It's delightful.
No, it's amazing. Well, Eric, thank you so much for coming on Popternative, man. I really enjoyed chatting with you.
I enjoyed it too. Thanks so much for having me.
Of course. So obviously people can watch Stargirl now. I mean, it's on DC Universe every week, and then the replay goes on the CW, and then they can also watch it for free, I believe, on the CW app, right?
I believe that is correct. Yes.
Yeah. And where can people follow you on social media to keep update with everything?
Oh yeah, the best place would be on Instagram. So it's _Eric_Goins, Goins on Instagram.
Amazing. Thank you so much, man. And seriously, congratulations on the success of the show, man. It's awesome.
Thanks, buddy. I really appreciate people like you having us on and getting engaged with the show. So we all really appreciate it.
No, it's amazing. It's fun to watch. I love how it looks, man. It just looks so good. Like it just looks, dude. Like it's a TV show. It's not even a movie, and it's
amazing.
I know, it's awesome. Well, this has been Popternative. YouTube.com/Popternative. Previous episodes. Until next time, this is Eric Goins and Petey Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.